Man, this game's hard. Oh, hey. Didn't see there. Don't you just hate jump scares too? Especially fridge scares. Fridge scares are when a protagonist opens a cabinet, closet, or even a fridge sometimes after hearing something, and out pops a cute little fuzzy fur ball. And then they, breathe a sigh of relief, but really, this is just to lull the audience into a false sense of security, so that just moments later, the real jump scare comes. What's up, Planeswalkers? How you doing? Today, we're covering the winner of the community poll, so drum roll please. It's Fumulus? The Infestation, a black and 3 colorless vampire insect. Its abilities read: whenever a player sacrifices a non-token creature, create a 1/1 black insect creature token with flying. Whenever an insect, leech, slug, or worm you control attacks, the defending player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. All things considered, it's a pretty straightforward card that fits perfectly into an Aristocrat deck, and hey, if it's not broken, then why not fix it for less money? We're diving into a death by 1,000 cuts strategy. Similar to the Madrotha deck I recently covered, this one is packed with removal and it is very budget friendly. Just in case that doesn't seal the deal, we also managed to squeeze a combo in to keep everyone on their toes. Before we jump into the cards, I wanted to share some exciting news. This Christmas, I'm giving away this deck and the previously mentioned Madrotha deck as a thank you for another wonderful year on YouTube. If you're interested, be sure to subscribe and you'll get notified when the giveaway happens. The first thing we need to cover shouldn't come as a surprise because he doesn't draw cards, and since we're going to need those to win, we need a card advantage package, so that's what we're covering first. So first off, we have Priest of Forgotten Gods, which is a very powerful, repeatable Edict effect that also nets us an extra card, and mana, really the best part about this card is its versatility. However, I put it in here in our card advantage section since it's one of the better engines we have. Ayara, First of Locthwain, similarly serves 2 purposes. First, she drains the table because our commander generates black insect tokens, so she does pull her weight in that department, but also her ability to draw extra cards shouldn't be overlooked, and it even synergizes with our commander if we sack a non-token creature. Grim Horospex is our second most powerful draw engine. The only drawback is that our insect tokens can't be used for more draws. Morbid Opportunist could outdraw Grim Horospex, but Wizards designed the card to trigger only once each turn. Thankfully, we have a few ways to maximize its value by sacrificing creatures on multiple players' turns. High Society Hunter mirrors the draw power of Grim Horospex, but comes with a higher mana cost and the benefit of a big flying body. Liliana, Dreadhorde General, is our ultimate draw engine in the deck, but of course we need a significant amount of mana to cast her. Fortunately, we are running plenty of removal, so we will get there. For the cheaper draw options, we have Village Rites, Night Whisper, and Sign in Blood as simple draw spells, with Village Rites offering a chance to trigger our commander. Plumb the Forbidden is exceptionally strong in our deck because we generate lots of creatures from things dying. This card is particularly effective too as a instant speed response to a board wipe, especially exile ones. Idol of Oblivion works beautifully with our commander's token generation, while Tyrion's Journal synergizes by triggering our commander and providing card draw. The land side of Tyrion's Journal adds some resilience to our deck as well. Call of the Ring is an underrated powerhouse. The Ring Bearer mechanic offers extra value, allowing you to draw when you're tempted and then loot with the Ring Bearer when the Ring Bearer attacks. I see this as a repeatable way to draw 2 extra cards each turn. Oversold Cemetery doesn't technically draw cards, but recurring creatures from the graveyard to your hand is a form of card advantage, especially when those creatures come with built-in Edict effects. And Pit further supports our sacrifice plan, letting us play cards from the top of our library as an added bonus. Finally, we have the classic Phyrexian Arena as a straightforward and efficient way to draw an extra card each turn at the cost of just 1 life. The core of our deck focuses on draining the table whenever a creature dies. In this section, I'll cover our Aristocrat and some sacrifice fodder. Keep in mind that all our fleshback style effects will be discussed later in the removal section, and those cards synergize heavily with this strategy. Infestation Sage is a straightforward 1-mana creature that gives us an extra body upon death. There are several creatures that could fill this role, but we're using this one because it makes an insect, which triggers our commander's drain ability. Viscera Seer is an invaluable sack outlet and a great way to ensure our creatures don't get exiled, allowing us to reuse them later. Reassembling Skeleton serves as both a combo piece and a source of repeatable sacrifice fodder. Vengeful Blood Witch is a budget-friendly alternative to Blood Artist, while Zulaport Cutthroats is one of our strongest aristocrats, draining each opponent consistently. Nadir's Nightblade is a similar card, but slightly less versatile, as it only triggers from tokens. Speaking of tokens, we're also running Mirkwood Bats, which can wreak havoc on the board when combined with non-token creatures, our commander, and a sack outlet. Pitiless Plunderer is another combo piece included here for its extra mana it generates when creatures die. If you're curious about the combos, stay tuned as I'll explain that later in the video. Grey Merchant of Asphodel is a cornerstone of any black deck. Its enter the battlefield effect can catapult you from near death to having the highest life level at the table. Sir Conrad the Grim also makes an appearance. It's just that strong of a card. Its ability to drain the table whenever something enters or leaves the graveyard can significantly speed up games. Fun interaction with Sir Conrad is that it prevents your opponents from executing death loops unless they have 2 aristocrat effects, as they would risk dying to their own loop. Massacre Worm could arguably belong in the removal section, but this is my video, and while it's devastating against token decks, we're primarily interested in the 2 life drain effect. It works perfectly with our plan to edict our opponents off the board. Exsanguinate is our safety net, capable of either closing the game out or buying us enough time to see another turn. Like Grey Merchant, its life gain can be a literal lifesaver. Astronaut's Altar is a crucial combo piece, but it does need to be played carefully since it will make you the table's public enemy. I recommend holding on to it until you're ready to combo or gain immediate value from the card. Dreadhorde Invasion provides a steady stream of sacrifice fodder. Bastion of Remembrance serves as a non-creature aristocrat, which is especially useful against decks heavy on creature removal. Revenge of Ravens offers protection against token decks. It complements our Edict effects, which handle all the big creature decks. We just don't have a way to deal with lots of creatures. This will hopefully mean that if they do swing at us, they would drain themselves out of the game. Okay, I've been building this up for a while, so let's finally talk about our Edict cards and how we plan to recur them. We'll start with Abyssal Gatekeeper, which requires it to die to trigger its Edict effect, so be careful with this one, but once we've set up, it is a great way to force sacrifices on opponents' turns without needing a spell. Accursed Marauder is limited to hitting only non-token creatures, which sometimes can be a benefit. Demon's Disciple is a versatile option since it can hit planeswalkers, an area our deck can be pretty vulnerable to. Fleshbag Marauder is a absolute classic, while Gravelighter offers flexibility as it can either draw us a card or trigger an Edict effect when it enters the battlefield. Merciless Executioner is essentially a Fleshbag Marauder in disguise. Playcrafter is even more effective, punishing our opponents without creatures or planeswalkers by forcing them to discard instead. Butcher of Malakir doubles the effectiveness of all our sacrifice cards, adding even more value to the strategy. For Recursion, Unearth is a 1-mana option to bring back one of our Edict creatures. While it can target other 3-mana creatures, the ideal use is to repeat the enter the battlefield Edict effects. Mire and Misery is a simple 2-mana way to edict opponents without recurring a creature. Victimize is another standout, allowing us to sacrifice one of our commander's tokens to return 2 creatures from the graveyard to the battlefield. Dread Return starts as a 4-mana reanimation spell, but can easily be flashed back using the tokens generated by our commander. Invoke Despair is a pricier option, but it is incredibly versatile, forcing the sacrifice of a creature, enchantment, and planeswalker. And if our opponent doesn't have one of those permanents, we drain and draw a card instead, making it a pretty powerful tool. And finally, we have the Eldest Reborn, which offers great value through the multi-stepped effects, an Edict, discard, and reanimating. Really fast, I do need to cover this section because we got to talk about some of our non-Edict removal we're playing, since targeted removal is still a necessity in a format with so much combo. Defile, Final Vengeance, and Feed the Swarm are all a variety of cheap targeted removal spells. Feed the Swarm is great though since it can hit enchantments. Mutilate and Decree of Pain are some board wipes in case the go-wide strategies prove to just be too much for us to handle. Under the ramp, we're playing lots of mana rocks like Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Wayfarer's Bauble, Mind Stone, Thought Vessel, and Commander Sphere. Black Market is a non-artifact way for us to ramp, but this is really a way for us to abuse all the ways we have to kill our own creatures to make an insane amount of mana for a big Exsanguinate or just empty our hand every turn. This section is all about our value pile. These are cards that synergize with our deck, but don't fit neatly into one single category. Rankle, Master of Pranks is a versatile card that can edict, force discard, and draw us cards, making it quite powerful. However, the downside is that it needs to connect with an opponent to activate these abilities, and your opponents also get the same effects. Henrika Domnathi is similar to Rankle, offering card draw and edict effects. What sets Henrika apart is her ability to transform and making a way to pump the tokens created by our commander. Her keywords also make her an excellent attacker or blocker. Rise of the Dark Realms is a game-ending card that fits perfectly into our remove everything plan, allowing us to reanimate the graveyard full of creatures we've stocked throughout the game. Winter Moon is a surprise tool for slowing down multicolored decks. Since we're only running 2 non-basic lands, this card won't hinder us at all. Finally, Swiftfoot Boots earns its spot in this deck purely for its protection it offers our commander. Much of our strategy revolves around our commander's ability to generate tokens when we sacrifice our creatures, so keeping it safe is crucial to our success. For the combo section, I'll be showing you how the Reassembling Skeleton combo works. To start, we'll need Reassembling Skeleton, Pitiless Plunderer, and Astronaut's Altar on the battlefield. Then we can activate Astronaut's Altar by sacrificing Reassembling Skeleton and adding 2 colorless. When Reassembling Skeleton dies, Pitiless Plunderer triggers, creating a treasure artifact token. Activate the treasure by tapping and sacrificing it, adding 1 black mana. Activate Reassembling Skeleton by paying 1 black and 1 colorless, returning it from the graveyard to the battlefield. We can then repeat this process for infinite colorless mana and an infinite death loop. If we have an Aristocrat out, it means we will win the game. That's going to be all from me today. I hope you enjoyed the deck. Let me know how I did or any changes you'd make to the list in the comments below. If you want to see one of the commanders that didn't win the community poll, make your voice known as well. Subscribe to see more deck lists like this in the future, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.